Have you ever noticed that it's always the bullies and it's always the people that break the rules that seem to get ahead in life? If you notice, man, a lot of guys in this position, a lot of us were people that actually follow the rules. We were obedient in school. We tried our best to stay out of trouble. And even then, that wasn't enough for us to be targeted, for us not to be targeted, because when you're somebody like that in this predatory world, you're seen as like just a victim. You're seen as a target. You're seen as somebody that people would like to come after. And it's brutal. And this world's going to teach you that everybody who is pretty much an evil piece of crap, they're the ones that are going to thrive and survive in this world. It's absolutely brutal when you see the truth for what it is. People who break the rules seem to be the ones making the rules. It's why you have the billionaire class. They can do whatever the heck they want and nothing's going to happen to them. Meanwhile, if you're a regular person and you take a candy bar from a store, you'll be automatically prosecuted for the most part if you get caught, right? And you may think that, well, that's fair. Yeah, okay, yeah, it's fair, but it's only fair if the people at the top of the system, the billionaires, if they're actually paying their part in taxes and they're actually in the same type of justice system as the regular people. But we don't have that. We have a society where the wealthy control everything, and if you're not wealthy, you're pretty much screwed. So it forces people to think outside the box, and some people choose the age old, being a bandit, pretty much, selling illicit objects and materials, just doing things outside the regular parameters, and they're able to get ahead. Meanwhile, you have somebody who does everything right, follows the rules, and you end up pretty much destroyed because you can have somebody be a Twitch streamer that can make $20 million a year, and then somebody else who goes to school and gets all these degrees, writes all these essays. They go hard, they try to become something in life, and they end up at a job that they absolutely despise, or they have to do a job that they don't want because they need stability, they need that money. And then you got somebody else living out their dreams with millions upon millions of dollars. It's like, wow, that's somebody that took a risk that nobody that not a lot of people probably would take to try to do content creation or do something like that. And because that's extremely hard, it's extremely difficult. It's hard to build an audience, and it's even harder to actually gain substantial income to actually live a life of luxury. But these guys seem to do it all the time, and it shows you how unfair the system is. Like, it shows you that if you can break the rules and make a lot of money, then that's what makes it right. It's not about morality. It's not about being a good person. Some of the most evil people are some of the most wealthiest people, and some of the most, or yeah, yes, like some of the most evil people are some of the most wealthiest people, right? Just off of being evil and wicked, and some of the most goodest people are some of the most poorest people. If you notice that, like, there be people that are really genuinely good people, but they're poor. They're in poverty. They can't really afford anything. They can't afford much. They're trapped, by this evil, sadistic system. And the system trains you from early. Ever since you're a child, you got to wake up at a certain time. You got to be obedient to the teachers. These people are not even your parents, but you have to listen to them, because if you don't listen to them, you don't go to school, then your parents, they can get, arrested, or they can get charged with some type of child neglect or something like that, all because you don't go to school. So the system will force you to go to school and comply unless you have enough money to private school your children, you know. But for the most part, most people want to go to public school. And when you go to public school, you got to follow all the public rules. I'm not talking about the rules the school sets, but there's hidden rules. There's rules that pretty much, if you're a person that looks unattractive, if you're like a guy that's kind of rejected, you kind of, you don't really fit in nowhere or whatever, there's like social rules and hidden parameters, and those social rules are pretty much the shit on you. It's the reason why you hear those stories and like all those experiences when it comes to guys who are alone, or guys who don't really have women like that. Women call them creepy. They hear those stories that when they look at the guy and say, ew, the guy tries to give the girl something, the guy, professes his love to her, and the girl's just like, what the hell? She's taken aback by it. She's taken aghast by it. She's horrified by it. She doesn't like it because she's not physically attracted to the guy. Physical attraction is everything, you know? So there's some people in this world who, because they look a certain way, they can break the rules. They don't have to follow the regular rules. They can, take off work and skip school, make a YouTube channel or make a Twitch channel, and then start getting, thousands of dollars a month right off the bat. And then they start scaling that up and making their own business, and they start just taking off. Like, who's that girl that sold her bath water? What was it, Belle Delphine or something like that? Like, I think she like sold her bath water. Like how ridiculous is that? Like, we live in a society that down bad. Like, imagine being that down bad. Like, I understand we're down bad, but to buy somebody's bath water, like, how weird is that? That's just some weird shit. You know, we talk about the elites and how weird they are, but there's like regular people that have weird fetishes as well, you know? It's disgusting. It's just like, and you wonder why these girls get wealthy and powerful, and then they treat the average guy like crap because they see what the average guy is willing to put up with and what they're willing to buy. Have some dignity as a lonely man. Like, just because you're a lonely guy doesn't mean you have to lose your dignity. Have some dignity and self-respect. Instead of buying somebody's random water, you could have used that to get you some kush. You could have used that to get the game you want. You could have used that to get you a wake off device or something. I don't know, bro. It sucks, but it's like this world is built off of rules and regulations. And from an early age, they tell you to be obedient. You always have to be under somebody. You always have to, pay your rent here, do this here, pay your more. You always have to be paying upward and giving somebody else your money, And they don't teach you about business investments. They don't teach you about business equity. They don't teach you how to create assets that appreciate with value over time. They don't teach stuff like that. That's stuff you have to learn yourself, right? And that's just for every adult. Doesn't matter what career field you're in. Money's going to be important, right? And that's the chains of control is money. That controls people's souls. It controls people's minds. It controls people's time. It controls everything. And we live in a world where it's like the goal is just to obtain money, obtain it, just so you can grow old and then be able to have a couple of years of peace before you pass away. It's like, why does life have to be like that? Why can't we be young and get to enjoy wealth, enjoy power, enjoy success, right? There was a time in America where your hard work actually paid off. Nowadays, your hard work doesn't pay for shit. You know, absolutely. It just doesn't. And it's going to get worse from here on out. And then you see everybody who gets to break the rules, they get to actually live life. These people have all types of businesses and side hustles. This is why I see a lot of people scamming and running all types of, just get rich quick schemes. It's because those things, that there's a lot of gullible people in the world, and they'll just they'll see a girl, one of those female streamers, constantly crap on their audience, call them poor, call them broke boys, all that, and these people will still follow that girl, and it's like, wow, she basically cheated the system. Like, how many females that I hear that used to be nurses or used to have like a regular 9 to 5, and they'll quit that and they'll become like OnlyFans models, and within a couple of months they're already making 110 grand, and it's like, damn, just that fast. Now, of course, these ladies were beautiful. Of course, they were beautiful women, so that definitely played a part to help them, you know, and they're able to do that. They're able to break the rules. They didn't have to follow society no more, like the preset parameters. And I learned that when you break the rules, bro, is when you actually can go far. You know what I mean by breaking the rules? I mean thinking objectively, thinking outside the box of ways of actually making money and trying to sustain yourself. Because guys like us, bro, it's just like we don't fit in a lot of places, man. A lot of people don't want us around. A lot of people like to cause problems with us. A lot of people like to start things with us. We're not wanted like that. And it's brutal, but it's the truth. This world is a cold place, man. It's merciless. And it shows you. You just watch nature. Animals don't ask, can they devour another animal? They just take it. Like power's taken, right? Like a fox. It doesn't ask a chicken for its permission. The fox just, gets under the chicken coop and it has chicken for lunch. The lion, It doesn't ask permission from the gazelle or the zebra. It just goes on the hunt. The tiger doesn't ask, its prey, the deer, if it wants to be devoured or not. It just takes it, right? And that's the world we live in. Like, if you want something, bro, you're really gonna have to try to create it all by yourself and try to think outside the box. Because following the rules, what is following the rules got you? Even women don't like guys who follow the rules. Women like bad guys who break the rules, you know. So if you follow the rules all the time, be the goody two shoes and all that, a lot of women find that unattractive. Being a square, and especially guys with my skin color configuration. If you're seen as a square, like, you won't get any putang at all, because you have to fit a certain mode of aggression when you have a certain skin color configuration. I'll leave it at that. But this world goes to show you that you have to be somebody that thinks outside the box. You got to get creative and innovative with your ways of monetizing, because just going to the 9 to 5, yeah, it provides stability, but it also provides a headache. Those coworkers, are talking crap about you. You even probably catch them in the midst of it. Like, all of a sudden, you come in there like they're talking about you. You hear your name, and then you walk in there. Then it gets real quiet. All of a sudden, it's like y'all was just talking shit. You can just feel the energy and the tension because they were just shitting on you. You know how people are, man. You can't trust people, man. You can't trust normies, brother. Because normies will always stab you in the back. Hell, people even in our position will betray each other for a little poo-tang. It's brutal. You know, it's absolutely brutal. But this system of submission, man, is just a prison. Honestly, there's no way in hell that life's supposed to be this way. Whereas everything's a competition, where you have to think of plots to try to get wealthy, which is ridiculous. You should be able to just do what you love for a living and get paid. It shouldn't be like this trapdoor system that tries to block your creativity and innovation. You know, have you noticed when you were younger, you were just so much more creative, you were so much more passionate, you were so much more ravenous about life. And then as the years went by, it's just you start to break little by little. And especially if you're somebody that always obeyed the system, you always did what you were told, you know, and you realize that just following the system without thinking, without having critical thought, it led you to nowhere. Honestly, that's one thing that doesn't get talked about enough. It's just being obedient to a system that's not really obedient to you at all, and being obedient to the point where it actually destroys you. You know, that's brutal. Because if a system doesn't even validate you, if a system doesn't even want to acknowledge your presence, it's like, what's the point of having this system, and being loyal to it? A system has to serve its people, it has to serve you. And when the system stops doing that, when you have poor people out there that need help, but they don't get any help, and they played life fair, and you have people that cheated in life and they're winning that life, that's not fair. It's not fair to come home as a war veteran and you're not getting any support from your country. That's not good. You're supposed to get support from your country. You fought for your country, you bled for your country, you committed unspeakable acts for your country, and the best thing your country could do is just toss you to the side. you know that's brutal. It shouldn't be that way, but it is. Like, this world is designed to just break you. It's like, once the system is done getting its worth from you, it breaks its tools. The system takes its tools, creates its tools, and then breaks its tools in the end. So nobody else can use you. And, like, don't be somebody that's actually kind of, somewhat intelligent, and you try to, like, work for somebody. You watch how they operate a business, and then you kind of start your own business, from watching them. The system, when it sees stuff like that, then you got to come up with these taxes. Now you got to pay a business tax. Now you got to do this. You got to do that. It's like there's even more money, and you barely scraped up enough to get your business started. There's all these parameters and barriers that stop you from actually accumulating wealth. Meanwhile, the wealthy can just create something instantaneously and have it all. And by wealthy, I mean those who have the shekels. Because those who have the shekels have the power. Playing by the rules, man. You ask me. You tell me. You played by the rules this whole time, and what has it got you? poverty. Meanwhile, there's people that cheated. There's people that did all types of unspeakable acts, and they're wealthy. They can sleep at night. They didn't follow the rules. It's like, damn, it's crazy. And if you're somebody that follows the rules, you got good morality, you're a good person, you have to protect your energy. This is something I learned the hard way. You can't just be kicking it and hanging around everybody, especially when you're in a certain type of social position, because everybody's willing to try to attack you and try to get you. It sounds, being paranoid, but it's just being smart when you're a guy in this position, because everybody's trying to take you down. Everybody's trying to find a target, and that target is usually going to be you. And when you're on your road to try to build something, try to create something, there's people that want to sabotage it. People that want you to be sabotaged. And people that want to keep you in the box that they're in, they don't see the advantage of making, things happen for themselves. So when they see you trying to build for something, they try their best to take you down and try their best to attack you. They try to talk about you. They try to bring you down to their level and beat you in that chaos and beat you in that misery. You can't fall for their cheap tactics and tricks. You got to understand that we live in a system of suppression, a system that wants the soul destroyed. We don't live in a loving, caring system. We live in a system that wants us broken, that wants us downtrodden. They want us defeated. They want us thrown to the streets. They don't want us actually coming together and trying to build something. They don't want us thinking outside the box. They want us following the rules and regulations that they laid out, so that way we'll be poor. That's why everything is calculated. We have a 9 to 5. It's calculated how much you earn a year. Meanwhile, when it comes to them, the only calculations they like to do is how much more money they can make, how much more people they can fire for artificial intelligence integration. It's bull crap. This is why people are finding, ways outside the system. They're breaking the rules. They're using AI to freaking try to code, or they're using AI to replace this, AI to replace that. And they're thinking outside the system. I'm talking about regular, everyday people. And there's some people that are making AI businesses right now. It's not easy. Not everybody can do it. That's why everybody's not doing it yet. But over time, AI is probably going to get even more and more integrated into society. And then we're not going to even be able to tell what's real and what's not. But eventually this system, it has to give, man, because it's only so long evil and wickedness and unmorality can just thrive. Even though it's been thriving this whole entire time, it feels like bad is always rewarded in this world, and people that cheat the system are always the ones that get rewarded. You cannot tell me that you can become a multi-billionaire without cheating the system in some way, without undercutting people, screwing people over, not paying people what they're owed. It's like you can't, there's no way in hell. Billions of dollars is not easy to come by. Hell, $1 million definitely isn't easy. Like, you have to have some type of evil inside you, I think, to get billions of dollars. To get $1 million, you just have to be kind of business savvy, have an audience, have people, and have a product that people really want, and have different types of revenue. Like men like us, bro, we got to think outside the box, because this world is going to get more difficult. It's going to get more just chaotic. And a lot of us, our entire lives was chaotic, just pure chaos. And we got a lot more chaos to go through. It's brutal. But this is how this world is. I don't understand it, man. Being a goody two shoes for a long period of my time, bro, it really broke me, because it teaches you to be subservient to disrespect. When this world teaches you to follow the rules and be obedient, you become obedient little servant. And when shit hits the fan, let's say a zombie apocalypse, you're going to be that nice little servant. You're not going to have that fire inside you, that intensity for, combat that you're going to need as a man when it comes down to it. This is why you have to grow some balls and try to really think for yourself, man. And what's the best thing for me? Like, for my mind, for my time on this earth, what's something that I can create, something that I can manage? What is something that I can do where I can try to turn this into something? You have to think like that, because if not, one day you're going to go into the 9 to 5 and you're going to snap. Because there's only so much a man can take when you take disrespect, not having a woman in his life, not making a lot of money, not having ownership in anything. Everything that you have is rented. You have subscriptions, you have fees, you have this, you have that. You got to pay this, you got to pay this person back, you got to pay this check in the cash, you got to pay this loan service, you got to, everything becomes like that. You're going to need an outlet. If you have no sexual alleviation, well, it's going to turn to, just negative energy, and negative energy means negative events, and negative events means life-changing things will happen. That's all I'll say. It's brutal. I wish this world was a fair world, man, where if you follow the good rules of morality, the rules of righteousness, then you get rewarded instead of following the rules of evil. Because so far I see evil winning, man, and let you know about whoever created this is evil. Whoever made this world, whoever made this land, they're wicked and evil and twisted and sadistic. Point blank, period. They're just evil. They're not good. Because who will create a world like this? Who will create a world that thrives off misery, that thrives off pain? This is not a good world. This is a wicked, sadistic world, man. And you gotta keep to yourself. You gotta think by yourself. You have to only really rely on yourself. Because when you try to rely on a lot of people, it's just gonna let you down, backstab you, and betray you a lot of times. Especially if you're a guy that doesn't, look the part. You know how people are. People are so judgmental. People don't really have the empathy or sympathy to put themselves in your shoes and see and experience what you're experiencing. The people are selfish by nature a lot of times, and they only see what they want to see. They only hear what they want to hear because they're personal biases. We got to understand that not many guys suffer like how we suffered in our position. So not a lot of guys will understand our position. Remember, we're like the outliers of the group. We're not the normal ones that fit in. We're like the lone wolves of society. We have to learn skills and other assets, ourselves, and expect no help and expect no mercy, and always expect people to try to sabotage, like physical, spiritual sabotage. You go to your 9 to 5 when like you're in a good mood. You finally got yourself in a good mood, and then your coworker starts behaving badly, trying to spiritually sabotage your energy, trying to drain you, trying to loose you, you know. So that way, now you're miserable, now you're mad, and now you're going to act on that. It's just this world is like an energy draining circus. And if we follow the rules of the world, I mean, look what that got us. Following the rules of a wicked society. What has that gotten us? Besides inflation, besides even more wars, besides even more corruption. And now, ever since the files, everybody's like, oh my gosh, the government's so corrupt. It's like everything in those files is what a lot of quote unquote conspiracy theorists have been talking about. I don't call them conspiracy theories if they're real. I call them conspiracy realists, not a conspiracy theorist. And a lot of those things are real. And it's something we've been talking about, and people just, it's like people have to wait till the government says something is real before it's validated. They can't just think for themselves outside the box, and that's going to be a real problem coming to the future. Like you're going to have to use your mind and your critical analyzation skills, and come to a conclusion that this world is brutal, it's savage, it's ruthless, it's sick, and it's not meant for you to succeed in. And the people that succeed are extremely lucky and extremely rare. But that's not everybody. Most guys in our position, bro, we can only dream of certain successes. We can only dream of certain pleasures and certain excitements because we've been trapped our whole entire lives. We've been targeted. Like, we haven't been allowed to really grow into our true selves. And your true self is when you're wealthy, when you're healthy, when you're young, when you're vibrant, when your soul is thriving, not when your soul is defeated and trapped. And that's a brutal pill to swallow. There's a certain age where it's already over. Can you regain some happiness? Maybe. But there's certain things you're supposed to do at certain ages, and if you skip those milestones, it's going to break you down. It's going to break your mind. It's going to make you just become unproductive, as they say. And you should only be productive when it benefits you and your situation. Yes, you're going to need the 9 to 5, but find a way to try to make your dreams, whatever. If it doesn't have to be your dreams, it just have to be something outside the box. Because following the rules now is going to lead to poverty. And that's like, it's like you're going to have a class of extremely wealthy and powerful people and a class of extremely poor and poverty-stricken people, meaning you have the master and the servant. And you'll have a class like that. And once you have the class like that, there's no middle class. Then it's like the regular people lose all power. And when you lose all power, you lose all hope. And when you lose all hope, well, there's no point in existence.